Hi, Andy here. Not every new automobile is a home run. Far from it. For every Porsche 911 and Subaru Outback, there's a Pontiac G3 or Lincoln Blackwood. A what? Exactly. From cars that were marketing misses to literal death traps, we count down the industry's worst flops and failures. Let's get right to it. Pontiac was already in trouble when they introduced the subcompact, rebadged Chevy Aveo in 2009. A pathetic 1.6-liter, 106 horsepower engine couldn't do much, even with that tiny frame. The reviews at the time were calling it the worst car on the road, and Consumer Reports named it worst in overall safety and worst fuel economy in subcompact. Ouch. Not surprisingly, there were under 7,000 units sold. Pontiac itself wasn't long for this world after this flop, and the company folded in 2010. Maybe it was just ahead of its time, but when Lincoln introduced their luxury pickup crossover, their target audience just wasn't biting. It could have been that it wasn't quite luxe enough for the luxury car crowd, nor practical enough for the pickup crowd, especially with its low payload capacity and a confusing, small hardtop only non-removable truck bed. Ugly and impractical? Where do we not sign? Only 3,356 units were ever sold. Revolutionary and controversial. The GM EV1 was the first purpose-built production electric car, so yay to innovation, but on the other hand, boo to first-time jitters. There were a number of issues with this glorified golf cart that was produced between 1996 and 99. It only had a top speed of 80 miles per hour and a max range of 70 to 90 miles on a 15-hour home charge. You're gonna be late for work. It was also only available to lease and bizarrely only through Saturn dealerships despite GM branding in California and some Arizona markets. And its spaceship shape gave the impression that Star-Lord would be at the wheel. Only 1,117 units were ever leased, and GM ended up taking them all back and scrapping them anyway. Guess EVs weren't quite ready for the big time in the mid-90s. When you think Aston Martin, images of James Bond may come to your mind. Sleek, sexy, cool. But in the mid-70s, Aston Martin threw away their typical swoon-worthy styling for a blocky metal eyesore. Not helping matters, the model was hampered by persistent electrical issues that gave it a reputation for unreliability. It also happened to be one of the most expensive cars at the time. Only 645 units were ever made in its 14-year run. Ugly, underpowered, and impractical, the Chevrolet SSR, or Super Sport Roadster, had nothing going for it. Based on the Trailblazer platform and inspired by 1950s hot rods, it was marketed as a retractable hardtop convertible pickup with hot rod inspired styling, and was used as a pace car for the 2003 Indy 500 to drum up some excitement and press. Unfortunately, the public had no use for an overpriced 5.3-liter V8 pickup that had only 300 horsepower and a 4-speed automatic transmission. Sorry, Chevy. No doubt, Americans love big gas-guzzling SUVs, and also no doubt that they're not great for the environment or your wallet. So why not try making a fuel-efficient hybrid to give people options? Chevy hit the drawing board again and succeeded in adapting a hybrid drivetrain to their full-size SUV. Still had 4-wheel drive and 8,200 pounds of towing. The problem? It only made a very thirsty 19 miles per gallon versus the traditional counterpart's 12. Not much of a difference. Why get a hybrid at all if you're still hitting the gas station just as frequently? Chrysler once had a brilliant idea to build a Chrysler sports car with Maserati. After years of delays due to mismanagement and infighting among the company's engineers, the result was essentially nothing more than a slightly upgraded LeBaron. It was built on the pedestrian K platform, meaning it was a common American design that happened to be built in Milan. The performance wasn't bad, though not much better than a LeBaron, but who cares about a Maserati Trident on the grille when the styling is so blah? The public said no grazie. Meanwhile, in another ill-advised luxury blue-collar mashup, Jaguar tried to build an all-wheel drive luxury sports sedan based on the down-market Ford Mondeo platform. The result was a spectacularly unreliable commercial failure. Car and Driver may have put it best by saying, engine seized, interiors collapsed, transmissions exploded, and drive shafts, the countless drive shafts, ate their U-joints so regularly that you could say you're watched by them. According to The Economist, Jaguar lost 4,690 euros for every X-Type manufactured. On paper, the idea was good. In the early aughts, at a time when most SUVs were still truck-based and touted off-road capabilities, why not build a more street-driving, focused crossover? What turned the Aztek into another nail in Pontiac's coffin was its much-hated styling. The exterior was UGLY ugly. The Aztek sold poorly, and those that did sell immediately tanked in resale value. The only person that seemed to enjoy driving one was Walter White on Breaking Bad, and we know what happened to him. They say looks aren't everything, but in the case of the Pontiac Aztek, looks mean a lot. The Pinto, perhaps the most maligned, criticized, and hated car of all time. Ford's economy compact car, manufactured from 1971 to 1980 in response to the oil crisis, was not a bad seller, initially. But then news came out of the defective fuel tank design that caused the Pinto to explode in flames when it's rear-ended. Yikes! It got messy. Lawsuits were filed, regulators stepped in, internal Ford documents were made public, exposés were written. Ultimately, Ford recalled the Pinto. That's our list of the worst car fails of all time. But, of course, there's gotta be more, right? Did we miss one? Leave us a note in the comments below. And also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fun car-related content. Beep beep! Andy out.